I'm from Huawei Technologies. Here with me is Zurel Energy. It's a team from Zurel Energy. They are one of Huawei Technologies channel partners. And in this solar inverter site, they have an existing 5 kVA solution. The 5 kVA solution, as you can see, uses 8 batteries. So we have 8 batteries already installed, but these batteries have reached the end of their life cycle. So they're going to be upgrading this to Huawei Technologies M5000 solution. This is the M5000 solution. So we're going to be upgrading and replacing this after the commissioning with a Huawei M5000 iPower Cube solution. We'll show you how that happens right away. Okay, so we have this is a 2 kVA module. So as it is now, we have 2 kVA here. So we're going to add more modules to increase the power. So if I put an extra 2 kV, 2 kilowatt module. We now have 6 kilowatt module. We have one of the rectifier modules. These are solar panels, as you can see, is on. That means we have the PV modules connected to it already. I'm going to reduce. These cables are not looking very tense, so I'm going to just take off these cables and connect them very well so that they look neat.
The Huawei digital power launch. The first thing we're going to be doing before we commence is, please, I would encourage each and every one of us, let's just go outside and have a tea or a breakfast and just come back inside so that we can commence. If you don't mind, please let us stand up and let's go outside, take something, either a tea or a coffee or a biscuit, and just come back inside so that we can start fully. Thank you very much.
Technologies. Here with me is Zurel Energy. It's a team from Zurel Energy. They are one of Huawei Technologies channel partners. And in this solar inverter site, they have an existing 5 kVA solution. The 5 kVA solution, as you can see, uses 8 batteries. So we have 8 batteries already installed, but these batteries have reached the end of their life cycle. So they're going to be upgrading this to Huawei Technologies M5000 solution. This is the M5000 solution. So we're going to be upgrading and replacing this after decommissioning with a Huawei M5000 i4 Cube solution. We'll show you how that happens right away. Okay, so we have this is a 2 kVA module. As it is now, we have 2 kVA here. So we're going to add more modules to increase the power. So if I put an extra 2 kilowatt module. We now have 6 kilowatt module. We have one of the rectifier modules. These are solar panels, as you can see, is on. That means we have the PV modules connected to it already. I'm going to reduce. These cables are not looking very kempt, so I'm going to just take off these cables and connect them very well so that they look neat.
Rotate actually.
Yeah. So you can see that our inverters are active now. We have the PV module, which is this is also active, and this is the rectifier module for charging. It's switched off because we don't have main supply at the moment. So everything you see here is coming directly from this inverter at the moment. All the lights are. So let's go around and see what we can do. So right here what we have here now is a 6 kVA unit. So you have the 2 kVA, 2 kVA and 2 kVA to make 6 kVA. If we had 3 kVA units, it would have been 9 kVA. So that's what we have here at the moment with one of the batteries. So all of them is good for now. This first bit has been connected already to the inverter.
Nigeria is located in Western Africa with a population of 200 million. It has become Africa's largest economy thanks to significant growth in recent years. Its rapid development has led to higher demands on power supply, which restricts industrial and commercial development and economic diversification. Most industrial and commercial campuses in Nigeria use gensets, meaning high operating expenses and serious pollution. In June of 2021, the Huawei VI-17 campus in Lagos deployed the iSight Power as hybrid power solution. The power, reliability, and continuity were improved significantly at lower costs. The daily solar energy yield is 303 kilowatt-hour. and the estimated annual yield is 110 megawatt-hour. Carbon emission is reduced by 52 tons, with the genset OPEX reduced by $20,000 each year, and ROI is 4.5 years. The hybrid solution includes PV modules, IMIMO high-density power supply, cloud-lit smart lithium batteries, and an intelligent scheduling system. It supports multiple inputs, such as solar, gensets, battery, and grids. Intelligent scheduling shortens the genset running time, cuts both costs and carbon emissions, and enables green power consumption. Thanks to the solution's modular design, the equipment can be transported and installed easily. And just 1 week is needed for installation, commissioning, and service rollout. The solution uses the innovative IMIMO architecture to support efficient and smart power generation, conversion, distribution, and consumption, delivering 20% higher yields than the traditional solar solution. Huawei's 5th generation cloud-lit offers enhanced performance and prolonged service life, with lower energy storage costs than traditional batteries. The EyeSight Power S connects to the remote energy cloud system, with visibility into real-time energy yields, fuel consumption, and battery health, minimizing on-site maintenance and facilitating O&M. We believe that the energy divide should not stop industrial and commercial development. Through continuous innovation, Huawei hopes to bring to Nigeria a greener, more economical, and reliable power supply solution.
My name is Kelvin Chinagorom. I work with Safe Secure Nigeria Limited. We are channel partner to Huawei iPower. We deployed here some months ago. This church is Redeemed Christian Church of God Victory House, First Acton in 24 Road here. If, like I showed you over there, that security room, you will see where the machine is mounted. And that machine has been powering the only the administrative block here, not the main auditorium. The first floor, second floor, and the third floor administrative block. Okay, it has been powering it all this while. And then it can actually comfortably take 3 to 4 ACs, right? Though the fourth one, all of them are actually, they are actually inverter AC. There is no ordinary AC. We use inverter AC on them. In addition to other systems, the computer, the printer, and the light, and the rest of them. So it powered them comfortably, right? And then it has been on and on and on. And the good thing is that we use them during the day, and then at night, we also use them to power the security light. There are quite a number of security lights around this very building, this facility. From up here down to the other side, down to the other road, we have enough security lights here for everywhere. And this system powers them during the night. And then the battery does not actually go down. It can take from anytime from 6:30 till the following day 7 o'clock, right? So it runs like that, and I've been doing that for quite a number of time now. Yeah, we are using iPower X, the Max. I also had another iPower M, which is another good product, but this one is the one that is running here right now, and we have been experiencing it. We can testify of the quality of the battery and of the system. And for anything that will make the system, okay, to get breakdown, it actually don't get breakdown. For anything that is more than it, it will shut down by himself, and then later on it will come out by himself. You don't need any technical apply. You don't need anybody to touch it. It regulates himself, it directs himself automatically, and it has been very efficient. So far, we've been actually mounted it here. It has been delivering. I've been powering as we want, and then, like I said, we use it during the day for office work, but at night we do a lot of work because the security lights here are a lot, both in and outside the building. We actually power a lot of security lights. And so I recommend this system for anybody that wants inverter solution in the country, especially with what electricity is doing right now in the country. It's not actually It's not actually in favor of anybody who is doing business or who is running office or any kind of thing. So you need an efficient and effective inverter of this kind. In fact, I get to know that the power of this battery is much more than the normal. Like one of it is about 4 lead acid battery, 4, right? And I've looked at the efficiency of it. It will surprise that we're only using 3 batteries here right now, but the former system that was there, we are using about 8 batteries, and yet we still have issue with power, we still have issue of those. So this is actually more efficient, this is more effective, and this can deliver. The power factor is actually accurate. So I encourage anybody, I advise anybody and recommend this Huawei iPower X. The Max is what we are using, or iPower M, any of them that you can use. But just know that Huawei, this technology is very, very efficient.
Director. Thank you very much, sir. We have Justin Tilsil, the Business Development Manager. Thank you very much, sir. We have Victor Corey, Executive Account Manager, is in the house. All right, thank you very much. We have Dr. Beg Mark, Media Consultant, Huawei. Chuku Benson, I think it is an intern in the house. Ekweme Franklin, also a graduate intern from Huawei. And from the TD side, our CEO, Mrs. Chioma Eke, currently unavailable at the moment. Our CMD TD Africa, Mrs. Chioma Chimere, we should be expecting her, I think. MD Sales, TD Africa, Mrs. Gozi Ijogun. The head TD Power Unit, Mr. Ni Onabanjo, I think he's in the house. TD Marketing Lead, Mr. Nadozie Ihe. TD Business, Huawei Business Manager, Mr. Patrick Ochulo. All right, so moving straight away, and I didn't introduce myself. So my name is Chidi Uchendi, and I'll be helping us drive to this program to the end. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next I have on the agenda is the TD Africa value to Huawei market in Nigeria. Please put your hands together as I make welcome Mr. Ni Onabanjo. If your hands are not busy, please put your hands together for Mr. Ni Onabanjo. Thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of TD Africa, the executive management led by Mrs. Chioma Eke, I want to welcome you warmly to this power launch and to thank you for honoring our invitation. Would like to thank, profoundly the Huawei team that have been partners with us on this journey, and we are hopeful that we'll continue to contribute our quota, in bringing the needed resources and equipment to the teeming population of Nigerians. My name is Ni Onabanjo. I represent the Power Division in TD Africa. So briefly, I would like to tell you TD Africa's value to the Huawei market in Nigeria. If I can have the media project, the presentation, that would be wonderful, so that we can put down what is running now. by way of starting, let me say that my presentation this morning will be in 4 parts. I'm going to tell you who we are at TD Africa. I'm going to tell you the product categories that we have, and then go into the value proposition, and then I will tell you a bit of the asset finance solutions that we have in TD Africa. Our vision in TD Africa is to build a globally recognized distribution company and to become the key drivers of trade revolution across Africa. And to do this, it is our mission to make products and services accessible, affordable, and usable across Africa. And we intend to do this by building an efficient continental distribution network, and for us to remain the market benchmark when it comes to dynamism, efficiency, and competitiveness. Our values, we have 4 core values, and I'll go over them quickly. Number 1 is integrity. Integrity of minds and systems. In TD, talk na do. In TD, our word is our bond. And then we have passion, always passion for excellence. The number 3 value we have is dependability of our words, structures, and processes. And we have courage to take on, big challenges and to see them through. And the last being pride. Pride in who we are, an indigenous distribution company that is going global, and, in what we do and how we do it. I will move on now to tell you a brief history about TD Africa. The company is 23 years old. It was founded in 1999 as a sub-African leading distribution company and the largest provider of technology to the Nigerian and West African marketplace. We have operations in 17 countries and 4 continents, and we have regional offices in the US, the UK, in Dubai, and in Lagos. In the country, we have offices across 9 states, and we have more than a network of over 10,000 partners and resellers. So within the Nigerian market, we are the largest producer of credit, to the Nigerian technology market, and the largest company within the Zynos Group. For some of you who are familiar with the group. I'll go to the product category. In TD, broadly we deal with 7 categories of products. For some of our partners, you know us to be enterprise. We carry global brands. We have mobile. For enterprise, we are country level distributors for Huawei, for Dell EMC, for IBM, for Cisco, for D-Link, and all the core enterprise. And then for mobile, we are also country level distribution for Transsion, for Samsung, and all the mobile products that you have available in the country. For software, also, the big brands, the Microsoft, the Vertiv, the Azure, the Checkpoints, and all of that. For computing, all of the brands, HP, and all of the brands, we are country level distributor. And then for power, the product we are showcasing today is power, and I'm sure that you'll learn more when we get to that. We are just grateful to Huawei for this fantastic technology that has been brought to the marketplace. When we first got in contact with it, it was a wow experience, and I'm sure that for some of you who have seen the product already, you would be amazed as to the fact that you can have a compact, integrated, and intelligent, power solution to resolve the power grid we have within the country. And then the last category for us in TD will be the print and the consumable. This is not leaving behind our consumer electronics, the Bosch, the Philips, the Cynix, the LG, all of these important brands. I'll go to the value proposition. For us in TD, we pride ourselves with the big five. Number one is that we provide an offer to all our partners and the OEMs that we interact with, market-based experience and intelligence. Because of the fact that we have a large network of partners and resellers, we get market intelligence from time to time, and over time we have built this capacity and intelligence. We also provide financial engineering for medium and large projects. If you talk to the OEMs, they will tell you that we've been through several projects, and the intelligent power solution we are bringing on board today is also another project, and we are sure that in another 12 months or so we'll be reporting together about a win-win collaboration. For us in TD, we bring value-added technical expertise required for executing complex projects within the unique IT environment. So if you ask me, your first go-to distributor should be TD. This is in addition to providing after-sales service for all spectrum of products, OEM, that we represent. And lastly, we also provide bespoke asset finance services, for those who for one reason or another would not have the required capex to implement any project. I would delve into a bit of our asset finance solutions, and I will talk on this using three pillars. One is technology as a service. Under technology as a service, we have the power as a service, which is what we are bringing to the marketplace today. We also have data as a service and other subsets, but today we'll focus on power as a service. And then we have the Just Own It. The Just Own It scheme is an idea from TD of buying now and paying later. What we are saying is that your desire shouldn't wait, but payment can wait. And so we have the Just Own It scheme. And then we have for partners for staff members within our partner space, we have what we call the Joy Prime, or what is also known as the employee payment plan. That means that partners within our staff members within our partner space have an opportunity to buy now, and then they pay later in any of the products that we carry. So I'm going to just speed up now and tell you more about technology as a service. In a nutshell, technology as a service in TD is known as 3-in-1. Before now, when you want to have your breakfast, maybe take your tea or coffee, you would have to think of the tea bag separately, think of the milk separately, think of the sugar separately. But technology as a service is a 3-in-1 service that bundles, and provides comprehensive solution to hardware, software, and services, into a single monthly contract. I'll be available, maybe during the break to interact with any of our partners who might be interested. We have several benefits of this scheme. The fact that you can save costs from the onset. You don't have to think about the entire capex at the beginning of the project. And then the fact that you have your cost predictable, it becomes a subscription plan, and then you have it as pay as you go. And you can better allocate your resources, and you have more productive time, because once you deploy any of these services, the operations will come down, or the operational cost will come down, and then you have more productive time to attend to the things that are important to you. So thank you so very much for your attention. Thank you so very much for honoring our invitation. We promise that you are going to have a swell time, looking at this very highly innovative product. So if you don't mind, Can you please put your lovely hands together as I, drop the mic and welcome to the podium the MC for today. Thank you.
Please, let's put our hands together for Mr. Nee. All right, so the next on our agenda is an overview of Huawei's digital power solution in the industry, and I think this is one of the reasons why we're here. Please put your hands together for Mr. Victor. Please, let's put our hands together for him, please. Mr. Okay.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Morning again. So, basically, I want to take you through our solutions. But firstly, I want just to ask you a little bit of questions just to understand your expectations. So, I can just point you and you can tell me what you expect to get from Huawei. So maybe if I can ask her, what's your expectation? Yeah. To get the best. Another expectation, I think that gentleman over there, you? Something different from the normal, from the usual. So it's you're extraordinary, something unique. Okay. Anything from your side? Anything, you sir? Your expectation? Okay. So basically, I'll give you sort of like an overview about Huawei. So everyone knows Huawei. So Huawei, we're pretty much on the ICT side, on the telco. We are one of the biggest telco giants globally. And we are now shifting our position. So meaning that we are shifting from the traditional ICT, traditional telcos. So we are now pivoting towards energy, storage, and also transportation. So this presentation, I'm going to tell you more about what we have, the values, the global trends, what basically is all about. Just a simple question. Do you know what this means? Anyone? No, this one? You say wave, another one, just two more tries. Near that. Who else? Yep. Zero. Yeah, it is. And then what? End to end. Somebody saying fusion? So maybe just to explain, so the global is now heading towards carbon neutrality. So we are going whereby everyone needs to do zero carbon. So zero carbon represents this circle over here. So okay, so I'm going to tell you about Huawei Digital Power. It's sort of like an introduction about who we are, what we do, and what we've been doing before. So Huawei Digital Power initially started in 2021, meaning that it's one of the it's one of the business units that we have under Huawei. So our vision is pretty much clear: integrate digital and power electronics technologies, develop clean power, and enabling energy digitalization to drive energy revolution for a better, greener future. So you can see these are the different facets in terms of what we do in terms of the vision. I've mentioned about the global carbon neutrality, the fusion digital power electronics technology, sort of like innovation blend. You see a lot of innovation blend. We have cooperation and partnership. So all of you, we consider you as partners. So Huawei believes in partners, and partners are the key drivers for us. So, in terms of the overview, so like who are Huawei, what we do. So we have around more than 200,000 employees, 170 plus countries. Out of these employees, 53.4% they are into R&D, research and development. And then okay, so in terms of R&D, we are number 2 globally. And then in terms of the fortune, we are listed as number 44. So this is sort of to give you like an idea in terms of Huawei. So on the top side, this is typically our customer base. So you are the consumers. You have the telephones that you're using, the mobile phones, the wearables, the feeds. Then we have the carrier business. This is more or less on the telco side. And then we have enterprise. This could be now issues associated with the banks, issues associated with the governments. We are more into that side. So if you can see this gives you sort of like an overview of digital power. And what's the overview? So initially, so Huawei has been there for pretty much long, like more than 40 years plus. So we've been perfecting our power electronics technology and digital technology. So what we are currently doing, we are trying to blend power electronics side and digital side. So if you can see, like some of the materials that we use is the gallium nitrates, the silicons, and also if you can see in terms of the digital technology, we are pretty much good on the cloud business. So we are trying to blend it and come up with a better platform. So you can see in terms of the capability platform, we have embedded power, we have intelligent distribution, and energy storage. So energy storage is one of the key foundation for the success of this century. So if you can see the 5 major industries that we are targeting, you can see green power generation. So green power generation is now where everyone is now focusing on. So there is a PV solution, and also there's a microgrid. So for the microgrid, it's more or less about the mini grids, home solutions. My colleague is going to tell you more about the home solution. We have energy digitalization. So we have the smart grid. We have the digital power plants. Then if you're looking at transportation, we also have infrastructure on the EV. So EV is more of electric vehicles. Then we also have softwares, the Harmony OS that supports this particular system. So on the green ICT power side, what you all know about us, we also have the site power. So site power is more or less about providing power to the base stations. Then we have data centers. Data centers is typically our core business that we've been doing before. Then we have the integrated smart power. So this is a solution that we are providing essentially on the campus or building like these ones. So essentially this is sort of like a scoop in terms of the industries that we are focusing on at the moment. So for the digital power, as I mentioned, it's a new baby within Huawei. So you can see initially, digital power used to be on another business unit called EBG, but now you can see in terms of growth, we every time we go high by 20%. So you can see the transition now. We are now, like last year, we did almost around 4.68 billion. So this is purely on digital power. So the question to you will be, what are these digital power that we are talking of? So for the digital power, we have smart PV. So smart PV This is now the grid inverters. So maybe to give you a little bit about the smart PV, we are the first company that came up with string inverters. So the string inverters technology initially started around 2013, pretty much like let's say 10 years ago. Then there's been an evolution. So everyone is now focusing on string. Before there were central inverters, which has its own failures. But string inverters is now the best inverters that are available in the market. And Huawei has been doing great in terms of the shipments. Across, let's say, 7 years until now, we've been doing a lot in terms of shipments, and we've been #1. So like last year, to give you an idea, is that Huawei shipped around 52 gigawatts of PV inverters. So if you try to reflect and look at Nigeria, I think the current grid capacity, it's around 4 gigawatts, right? Around 4 gigawatts. So we've shipped like more than Nigerian power. Yeah, it's how many? It's 4,000 megawatts. Okay, and then under the smart PV, we also have the data center facility. So for the data center facilities, we also among the largest in terms of the market share. And for the past 7 or 8 years, we've also been doing a fantastic job under the DCF. There is an example. I'm going to show you what we did in Nigeria for data center. For site power, so site power is essentially is more of providing power to the telcos or tower cos. And of course, we have the great market share also in Nigeria. We've done a lot of this solution, the iSight power or even the UPS side. Drive One. So Drive One is now the latest technology that everyone is now focusing. Everyone is now talking about electric vehicles. We all know the wahala that is there in terms of the fuel. I'm sure the fuel costs suddenly rose here by almost exponentially around 50%. So the EV is now taking over. So EV, we are into EV. We don't manufacture vehicles. We work or collaborate with almost 40 plus vehicle manufacturers. So we provide the infrastructure. So the infrastructure means the EV, has to be charged. So we have electric charging points, the charger. So the charger could be either a single phase 7 kilowatts or a 3-phase 22 kilowatts. So this is typically what we are positioning on. Embedded power, this is more of the PCS or even the rectifiers that we are manufacturing. So in terms of Huawei, so we have 6,000 employees within digital power, 60% on R&D. We have all these R&D centers. We have one in Germany, Sweden, Beijing, Shanghai, Japan, and also in our head office. So in terms of the industry development, what's going on currently globally? So if you can look at this graph, this shows you the penetration rate in terms of the PV and also the wind. So now the focus now globally, according to IRENA, it's one of the biggest policy or lobby group. They're based in Qatar. So they're projecting that by 2050, we are going to have 86% of power from wind and solar. So it means that there's a huge demand that is coming. And I'm very happy that you're here, you're also part of it. So let's make it happen, because we believe wind and solar will be the next big frontier. So if you're looking at the governments, so each government also, they have their own neutrality. So like you can see South Africa, they want to achieve the neutrality by 2050. Nigeria, where we are, they want to realize it by 2060. We are seeing a lot of improvements that are coming. I'm sure you've seen mini grids, you've seen a lot of solar panels being installed, residential, commercial. So this is the movement. Kenya, where I'm coming from, we're also realizing by 2050. So this correlates with what is now in Nigeria. So if you're looking at the diesel price, it has sort of gone high. And you can see like in every house or maybe manufacturers, they are relying on diesel, right? So like you have a diesel generator, and the cost of fuel is very expensive in terms of maintenance. It brings too much problems. So this is the issue that is currently in Africa. You can see Ghana, it has gone high by 2.5 times. Kenya is almost the same with Ghana, but Nigeria is high. Then we have South Africa is also high. So the other things also, maybe if you can have a friend in South Africa, they're experiencing one of the worst power issues. So they have state load shedding, stage 6, which means they have a specific time whereby the power is off. So like you can go in your house 5 p.m. to 6 a.m. There's no power. So that's load shedding, and it's happening seriously in South Africa. So a lot of investors are now focusing in Africa. Why are they focusing in Africa? So they're seeing a huge potential and capability in terms of renewable energy. If you can look at this particular map, this one shows you the irradiance. So you know solar works with irradiance. Solar doesn't work with intensity. So people always say that if you take the solar to the north, it's going to work better than here in Lagos. Solar works with intensity. So you can see Africa has a very huge intensity in terms of solar. So you can see also on this graph, in terms of investment. So from 2010 to 2020, the amount to 2,254. But if you can see now the current focus for each country, you can see there's a lot of transformation in terms of investors. So these are such type of investors, and some of these investors could be DFIs, could be concessional, could be even private lenders, could be VCs. All these people are investing, and I can say 80% of these people here, they are also in Nigeria, and they are investing a lot on renewable energy. So this one gives you an idea in terms of LCOE. So LCOE is more or less about leverage cost of energy. So leverage cost of energy is more to define how the power has been calculated. So if you want to calculate the power in terms of per kilowatt hour, so you can see from 2014 to 2020, there's been a fantastic reduction. So which means solar is cheaper than using any other traditional energy source. And this has been attributed. If you're looking at specifically inverters, you can see 2014, there was string inverters 1000 V. Nowadays, people are now concentrating on 1500 VDC string inverters all the way through. And traditionally, most of these inverters from this side, they were not grid forming. But Huawei has a grid forming inverters, and hence we are contributing to the leverage cost of energy. So if you have a decrease in terms of LCOE, what does it mean? It means that you have high returns. So if you are an investor and you have fantastic product, like you have Huawei inverters, you have the energy storage solution, you have better reduction of cost, and hence you have more income that you can use to do other things. In terms of Huawei, so this is the solution that we have. So we are targeting different segments. We have residential, we have commercial, and we have utility. So if you're looking at residential, my colleague will tell you much more about it, but this is more or less targeting now your homes. It's now targeting your villas. So this is something very fantastic. So we have the Eyesight Power M, and it's readily available in Nigeria. For the commercial industrial, so we are more or less targeting the manufacturers. So the manufacturers, they are sort of using NEPA, they are using diesel generators. So if you use solar during the day, what it means, you're going to reduce at least the cost of power by at least 30 to 40%. And 30 to 40% you can easily use or other things within your organization. So we have utility. So under utility is now the large plants. We have a couple of 10 megawatts that have been deployed in Nigeria. So Huawei, we have these solutions. So of course, we have the grid inverters, we have the smart string energy storage system, we have the smart transformer stations, and we have the smart PV management. So all these are part and parcel of our solutions that we have within Huawei. I'll show you more on this slide. So under the Fusion residential system, so typically we have single-phase inverters, we have three-phase inverters, we have battery solutions. So this battery solution, this is for 5 kilowatt hours solutions. And then we have a backup box. So the backup box work is typically to support you to divide the critical and non-critical load. And also the backup box can simply work on an on-grid and off-grid mode. We have a smart PV optimizers. So the work of smart PV optimizers is to support the generation of the panel. So assuming that you are in a state and there's a lot of trees and there's shading. So if you're using a smart PV optimizer, it really supports in getting the generation. So you can see it depends with how the installation. You can typically use the smart PV optimizer, which is a very fantastic thing. And then also the most important thing within Huawei is that we have the monitoring portal. So on the system, you can easily use the Fusion cloud system to ensure that you are able to track your daily usage of power. Under the commercial industrial projects, so this is typically targeting now the manufacturers, the small, medium companies. So what are they looking for? So they're looking for optimal electricity cost. They're looking for a solution which is active, safe, and they're looking for a better experience. So under this particular solution, yes, we have our string inverters. We still have the optimizers. We have different, let's say, variety of inverters. You can see there's 20, 30, 36, 40, 50, 100, 110, 200. All these are within the commercial industrial space. And this is a fantastic thing that we are seeing it being pushed a lot in Nigeria. A lot of industries, they're now focusing on this particular solution. So this is now the Fusion utility solution. So under the Fusion utility solution, this is typically if you're looking at a megawatt scale of business, bifacial and trackers. So bifacial is panel which has a front and rear side. We have the smart string inverters. So typically, depending with, let's say, the voltage that you're looking for, so you can either have a 200 or a 210 or 185 inverters. And then M-bus, this is sort of like a communication for the inverters. Then the smart transformer station. So smart transformer station, we have different variety. So we have 3 MV, 6 MV, 9 MV, which is the biggest that we have. And within the smart transformer station, we have the LVs, MVs, the RMU, the switch gears. Maybe it could be a 20 kilo amps per second switch gear or a 25 kilo amps per second switch gear. So everything is put under one container. Then we have the smart PV management system, which of course gives you more of a monitoring platform of this entire solution. So you can see this is one of the project that was done around 2020 by Cross Boundary, one of our partners. And this is familiar, this is in Abuja. You can see they're doing power as a service, and the return on investment is going to be around 3.8 years. And you can see the lifespan of this particular solution is within 25 years plus. So what are these, what's the value for Jabi? So Jabi, of course, it's no capex because they're paying, and then there's a reduced cost of electricity, at least 10 to 15% for them. Then there's a lot of savings for them. For like this particular solution, it's supporting the carbon neutrality. So this is something that we are seeing, and it's an exciting transition in Nigeria. So this is another solution that we have. It's the Huawei Eyesight Power S. So this is for the banks. So this is in so for this particular solution, we are seeing a reduced equation in terms of the diesel generation running time. Because most of the time you have for the banks, they have the grid power. They have maybe two redundancy. So maybe they have two generators. So if you're using that solution, which means that one of the generator, you'll have to switch it off, and the second generator, you're going to at least run it within a shorter period. So hence, you're going to have better savings. And the most critical thing that the banks are looking for is the IRR. So if the IRR is within 18%, a double digit, this is a fantastic solution. So within Huawei, yes, we also have UPS. So UPS, these are various applications within UPS. Of course, we are on the telecom sites, schools of government, laboratory, because it's very critical. For the supermarkets, we also use UPS. So this is a solution that we also have, and we believe TD Africa is also pushing this a lot within Nigeria. So these are various solutions that we have within the UPS. In terms of, there's a 50 amp solution, 100 amperes solution, and 150 amperes. And you can see it has different cycles. And also, all of these are typically at a charging rate of 0.5 C. So essentially, under digital power, we want to be the best partner for you. We want to support you. We want to ensure that you achieve the digital carbon neutrality, because carbon neutrality is now the next big thing. And the big thing that you need to focus on is now we need to eradicate use of diesel generators. Diesel generators, they're harmful, and if you have energy storage solution, it will really support you. So what we stand for to generate green power. We want you to get green power. We want you to save power. And by saving power means also your pocket is okay. And then the other thing is that we want you to reduce the carbon emission. The carbon emission, if you're using diesel generator, it's just a rocket science. If you use green power, you reduce carbon emissions. And then what also it means that we are saving our planet for the future, because we want this planet to be a fantastic planet. So under this scoop, you can see that we are also pioneering. We want you as a partner to support us, and also we'll also support you in ensuring that we provide quality products. We stand for longevity. We stand for Nigeria. We stand for you to ensure that we have a successful future for us and also successful future for everyone. So thank you very much, and I want us to achieve more, and we achieve to the achievements. Thank you.
Please, let's put our hands together for him again. Okay, so I want to believe that we have our questions and answers. Our questions, while he's going to answer them, I'll call you back for questions and answers. Yes. We have a section for question and answer. So everyone that has spoken, we're going to give our questions to them. All right. So while he was speaking, I just want to recognize some of our dignitaries that walked in while he was speaking. In person of our CEO, TD Africa, please put your hands together for Mrs. Choma Ike. Thank you very much, Ma. Yes.
I don't know about personality. I'm the chief servant here. Good morning, everyone. Is it afternoon? Still morning. Good morning. I think we're very cramped here. We have a big auditorium downstairs. Next time, please, let's give ourselves some space. My name is Choma Eke. So the last speaker here, you talk about longevity, Nigerianness. Let me quickly also add profitability, because that's what will ensure sustainability. Right? Good. Feel free to clap now. It's really, really interesting partnering with Huawei on this project. So it's not just food that we're noticing is short globally. With what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, I'm not sure if you're aware, but 33% of the global wheat distribution comes out of those two countries. So food hard now. And I'm sure for some of us who go to my two and Noto and Ido, we also notice even tomatoes and what have you are beginning to become expensive. And we see a good number of these tied to the crude oil that, by the way, we get from our backyard, right? But somehow, by the time it gets to us, the price is heightened. It's a story for another day. We as a country can begin to add more value. Instead of exporting value, bringing back finished product. But the point really is that diesel and fuel and what have you are becoming a lot less affordable. Therefore, TD Africa, as that company that is constantly thinking digital transformation and how to bring the partner ecosystem, by the way, that is growing day by day with over 5,000 partners. So we'll sit at every point in time to say, where is the new money coming from? Ladies and gentlemen, new money is coming from alt power. And that's what we're talking about this morning. So I'll encourage you to not only listen, internalize, embrace, so that you can then begin to execute some of the things we're talking about today. Because if you're looking for new money, you will find it here. And there's no better person or corporate to partner with this project other than Huawei. Please give them a round of applause. And welcome to the TD home. We will continue to bring value. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Please, let's put our hands together for her once again. Thank you very much, Ma. Okay, also recognizing our Chief Coordinating MD, TD Africa, Mrs. Chioma Chimere. Thank you very much, Ma. And also our MD Sales, TD Africa, Mrs. Gozi Ijogu. Thank you very much. Okay, so moving straight, please put your hands together for Mr. Justin. Mr. Justin, as he comes out to give us the introduction to Huawei Solar Solution. Please put your hands together for Mr. Justin. All right.
My friends, good morning. Honorable guests, fellow Lagosians. I'm a Lagosian, adopted. I'm grateful for that. It's great to be with my fellow brothers and sisters this morning to discuss an absolutely huge opportunity. This is not only a huge opportunity for the world, but it is particularly a big opportunity for this country, Nigeria. I don't need to tell all of you in this room about the power issues in this country. Here in Nigeria, I've learned that we view issues as an opportunity. And that's what we're going to tackle here today. So I think there's a presentation ready. There you go. But before we get into it, I'd just like to ask a few questions to the audience here. So this will help set the stage for, future conversations. This is not just a one-time come and learn about Huawei's solar solution and then go off and sell it. This is a long-term partnership where we will provide training, we'll make sure we have your feedback about the market, and we will adapt to make sure that we are both, selling our product, making money in the process, and solving a huge problem in the process, right? And if you can do both of those things, then we're all winning. So my first question is, how many of you in this room have sold a diesel generator or generator from your own offices or businesses? Show of hands. Very few. And no generators sold. Okay. You buy the generators, you don't sell them. Okay. What about batteries? Batteries. Most of the room? Half the room? Show of hands. Okay. You've sold batteries. Okay. What about UPSs? UPSs. Okay. All right. And inverters of any kind. So about half the room, is that right? You could say we've sold inverters of, okay, just it helps me frame the discussion a little bit for the product. I don't want to start speaking another language immediately, and then, it's better to build a good, strong foundation and then learn as you understand the solar solutions. So what I'd like to start with usually is a little bit of context before we get into the specific solutions. And that, I think, is particularly relevant from what I understand from the audience and maybe your familiarity with solar. Now, I'm going to assume we're all familiar with power generation and generators and what it means to have a 3 kVA and a 5 kVA load and 10 kVA load. Now, I would not assume that in any other market, but I can assume that here in Nigeria. So what's important for the discussion today for that context is what I say is two big challenges with solar. And these will not be new challenges you've heard of, okay? And you're going to hear this repeatedly as we move into the solar industry together. That's one, there's intermittency in solar. What that means is, okay, that's good, but what happens at night? What happens during the rainy season? What happens when the cloud is overhead? It means the sun doesn't shine 24/7, okay? But the good news is, and the opportunity for us, is that's changed rapidly over the last 5 to 10 years, okay? So the decreasing cost of batteries, particularly lithium batteries, has created a tremendous opportunity for what they call stationary storage. So with people investing in electric vehicles, the price of batteries for your home for backup has come down drastically. So the challenge of the intermittency of the sun has now become an opportunity to introduce batteries to your solution, and that's exactly what our solution offers. So that's one, intermittency and batteries. The second thing is CapEx. So you may have heard, oh, solar is expensive. It's for me, I was talking to a colleague the other day, it's kind of like comparing a bicycle and a car. If you're going to always compare a bicycle and a car, yes, a car will always be expensive. But if you're only talking about a car, then we can have a discussion, okay? And that's relevant particularly when you start comparing our product to other products and getting into the nuances of solar. But the first thing is, what type of transport are we talking about, okay? And you will learn the benefits of each of type and the talking points. But it's not to deny that the upfront cost of solar is expensive, okay? We all know in Nigeria, we like to pay small, okay? We like to go month to month, or free, if we can, well, We know nothing's for free, but if you have a good connection, we can make it work. Proof of concept, right? So, but with partnering with TD Africa, we're able to address some of those financing gaps, right? And this is particularly a big challenge with the large industrial projects. They still happen, but they're much more tricky to finance. But we see a very large opportunity at the residential level, where there are consumers that are willing to pay that amount. Maybe it's financed over 2 years, 3 years, and then there's a 10-year guarantee of lifespan, 15-year guarantee of working life. So the warranties are somewhere between 5 to 10 years based on the inverter and battery, but the payback is tremendous in that period. But just getting over that first hump, you don't have to worry about O&M, operations and maintenance, servicing your generator, fuel costs, et cetera, right? So these are the challenges, but these are the opportunities, right? So the more innovative financing solutions can also help address the CapEx and just educating the consumer. Okay, I say the problem is the opportunity here. I don't need to belabor this too much, but this is also what my colleague Victor shared. The grid capacity in Nigeria is about 8 gigawatts, and 8 times more than that is generated off-grid through private generators. So that's 64 gigawatts are generated off-grid in Nigeria than the grid. That's the opportunity we're discussing here. We don't need to wait on the government for that opportunity. We don't need to wait on anyone else. We just address the market. So, as my colleague shared about the great focus on R&D of Huawei, I would like to share my own opinion of why Huawei, and it's generally in 4 categories. Number 1, Huawei is not just a solar inverter or battery company. As we know from our partnership with TD, we are a much bigger company that is involved in many other verticals, and it's an entire ecosystem of products. So by joining, this is the example I always give, by joining as a Huawei partner with the iSight Power M, you are actually paving the way for your business to start selling electric mobile e-mobility chargers in the very near future. So the synchronization between the M and your future electric vehicle, it may be only a few years off, but it's all related. Similarly with the intelligent management system of the devices. So it's an entire ecosystem of products. And then we have a heavy focus on R&D as mentioned. So it's not just one product, wait a year, wait 2 years. It's here's a product, here's another product coming out Q4, here's another product coming out Q3, so it's ongoing. Then we have a very strong local presence, which is unheard of for any other OEM in terms of our technical support. We have Emmanuel here. Maybe you could raise your hand, Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a part of our solar PV team, and he's a Nigerian, of course. And he is regularly driving our partnerships locally to ensure that we're achieving our mutual targets. So we have a very strong presence locally with our staff to achieve those aims. And then related to that, of course, is the partner development, both for new project opportunities, but also just in building the market. My colleague mentioned this. We were the #1 global inverter company since 2015. We don't share that to boost our own name per se, but to say that product and has. Check. Thank you. All right. Wow, much better. We'd say that this is a reliable product and it's demanded globally. So we are competing with the best, and we are maintaining our position globally in the solar market. Because of course there's a huge challenge to overcome. Huawei does inverters. Once that barrier is overcome, then we can have a real dialogue about opportunity. But we have to always, what we're here doing today is we're being crusaders to make sure people know that Huawei has an inverter in the market, and it's top tier. So the market in Nigeria is really at its early stage of growth. There's opportunity at the residential stages as well as the C&I, what they call commercial stages, and it's far from maturity. So the opportunity at hand is huge, particularly for this partnership. As we know, the market is very fragmented, so it's exciting to have a partnership with TD Africa that actually has a span, that can reach the entire country, and so that's something we hope to build out. And now this is a segment I'm particularly passionate about, and that is the addressable battery market in Nigeria. So some of you that have sold batteries in this room, you probably spoke in volts and amps when you sold that battery. 24-volt battery, 50 amp hour, 100 amp hour. So as we transition to solar globally, the conversation actually becomes kilowatt hours. So we always assume a 48-volt building block, more or less, and a 100 amp hour battery, and we'll speak in usually at least 2.5 kilowatt hour blocks to 5 kilowatt hours stackable. Okay, and that's really the transition that's taking place globally. Now, the challenge is the opportunity, as I mentioned. So it's estimated that the total lead acid market in Nigeria is about $300 million by 2025, or it could be as high as $300 million by 2025. Of that, 50 million could be lithium batteries if it continues on its current scenario in a very high projection scenario. There's also a medium scenario where it would be only about 125. Now, what we want to do together is make this blue chunk of the pie even bigger, okay? And we believe we can absolutely do that for reasons I'll explain. And this just shows the trend further on the right of where we are currently in 2022 with the lithium battery market size. Oh, I guess it's not on here. Just to add to this, just to give you an idea of reference, Germany a few years ago was around 60% lithium batteries for its stationary storage residential market. Now it's above 99%. South Africa is currently around 60 to 70% of its stationary storage, meaning batteries at your house or for your business. It's around 60 to 70% lithium. Nigeria, we're somewhere between 5 to 10%. So you can look at that and say, wow, we're behind. But the reality is that's still a big chunk of the market because Nigeria is a huge market. But it also means there's a huge opportunity at hand. And so it's up to us to create that opportunity to make sure we're the pioneers of lithium pushing the product in the market. Now, why lithium? And this is my second favorite slide, as Emmanuel and some of my colleagues know. I say lead is dead. Why do I say lead is dead? Obviously, I'm talking about lead acid batteries here, because generally the usable capacity of a lead acid battery, be it UPZ or other, is about 50%, sometimes 60%. With lithium, it's usually 90 to 100%. The warranty life on lead acid, if it's granted, is maximum between 1 to 2 years. Our batteries come with minimum 5-year warranty, which can be extended. The cycle life is somewhere between 3 to 4 years. Now you could say for a lead acid battery, yeah, but I had a battery, I got 6 years out of it. Well, you probably weren't using your battery if you got that many years out of it, and you get a battery to use it. And with lithium, the cycle life you can say is 15 years plus, which on a warranty coverage is about 6,000 cycles, which is about 10 years. And then an exciting piece of the technology is the battery management system in each of these solutions. The battery management system is essentially the brains that communicates between the inverter and the battery. It says, oh my God, I'm overheated. Oh my God, I'm discharged. And it communicates that back to the inverter. So there's overcharge protection. There's balancing of the cells. There's remote monitoring of the battery, so you always know the state of health of the battery. And you can set, as we'll get into, you can set the discharge and charge times of the battery. You can say, oh, I only want to go to 70%, keep 30% of my battery just in case NEPA doesn't come back on and I want to watch my Netflix or whatever. You can do that with lithium. And the operating temperature is up to 35 degrees Celsius, which is a lot. Now, early on, there's a misconception that lithium means fire. Lithium means danger. We all may remember the videos in 2015, 2016 of a kid's scooter catching on fire. Well, that is long in the past. So the chemistry has advanced tremendously year on year. And currently, the lithium technology, you can shoot it with a gun and nothing will happen. Now, because we're Huawei, we are extra safe about this technology and chemistry, and we have fire protection in all of our devices as well, just to make sure that's covered. But it's definitely much further along than putting petrol in a generator next to someone smoking, and that's the advancements where we are. So as my colleague Victor shared with one of the scenarios, the ROI on solar and storage is sometimes a little difficult to predict or to know exactly, and it's particularly due to the batteries of a solar system. So however many batteries you add to your solar system depends on the use case and how much backup you want. But a rough estimate is somewhere between 3 to 8 years on a payback on a solar system. Now for residential, it can be a little more nuanced because it also depends on what's important to the client, what loads are important to the client to run off your system. We can come back to this. Okay, now that's just further context. So let's get into the ecosystem a little bit more and our solutions in particular. So my colleague Victor also mentioned this. These are the divisions of Huawei Digital Power with Smart PV at our core. So as you saw when you walked in, the big flagship product that we'd like to introduce is the iSight Power M. This is a residential single-phase solution, perfect for the Nigerian market, both for grid-tied, where you could utilize NEPA if need be, if it's available, or off-grid scenarios. This is a solution that can parallel an inverter size single phase up to 18 kVA or up to 45 kilowatt hours. The building, which is of course 48 volts, 100 amp hour batteries. Now the building blocks are 5 kilowatt hour batteries. So the inverter is all in one as a solution with the batteries, and batteries can always be added later. I forgot to mention that when I discuss kind of Solar 101, depending on if the audience have sold a solar solution or not, I always say there's actually 3 main components of a solar system, okay? There's panels, inverter, and batteries, okay? And particularly in Nigeria, there's usually always batteries. If you had a good working grid, Europe or US, you could get away with the batteries and you can just use the grid as reference voltage, but we're not talking about that. That's why it's the opportunity. So with panels, I'll say that Huawei doesn't make panels. Let me just be unequivocally clear. But panels are the least interesting part of the whole solution. Panels are the most commoditized part of the solution. So panel efficiency has increased every 6 months and continues to, and there are certain nuances between different panel brands, but in general, it's certainly the easiest part of the whole system. Now the inverters and the batteries, this is where we play, right? And this is where you get a lot of nuance in the technology, and that's what we're talking about. So I just want to be clear about that. So let's get into some more features of this solution. So you can run this solution utilizing solar, the grid, or DG. Now, before we get into that, I just want to emphasize you always want to maximize the pull from your panels first. Why is that? Well, it's simply because it's a sunk cost. You've already paid for your panels. So you want to maximize the use of those panels always in your system, right? Then, depending what's cheaper, but 9 times out of 10, probably what's going to be cheaper is if there's NEPA. And if it's available, you pull from NEPA. And you can use that to either run through your loads if there's no battery available, and there's no sun available, and then you can use it to charge your battery. And then you can set the DG to actually work with your grid. So if you want to constantly running 24/7 solution, you can use an ATS to make sure it coordinates with the generator so it runs the solution 24/7. Or you can have it so you can put on the gen manually. Okay, so it's just a worst case scenario if you do want to run your gen. Now, that's because the reality is it depends what you're running, right? So client might buy a 10 kilowatt hours of battery, put on 10 AC units, and then wonder why it's dead within 30 minutes, right? This type of thing can happen. So this is why it's good to have all options, and it's completely nuanced per client. And this is why also we offer a remote monitoring app on your phone, so you can understand what's the status of my battery. You know, how much more battery life do I have? Just like your cell phone, to understand, okay, how much you have left before you might need to go buy some fuel, or if you don't want to buy fuel, you can lower your usage before you begin the day tomorrow. And all of that is adaptable. So a scenario can be you can utilize the grid with battery with no solar. So this is essentially a huge UPS, right? You can use it just like a UPS. Let's say you're in a big apartment complex or something. So that can be a use case. And in this type of scenario, you can also start with just one battery. For instance, I live at 1004 Estates, 1G4. There, I would have issues putting panels on the roof, okay? Unless I knew someone. So in that's a scenario where they were having, 4-hour blocks last month of, okay, it's out from power from 10 to 12 and 2 to 4. So you could have the system running just off the grid and the batteries for those 2-hour windows. Now, this gets into another feature of the battery, and that is the charge and discharge rates. So if you go back to the it's not on here, but if you go back, if there should be another category here called the C rating, the charge and discharge rates of the battery. So our charge and discharge rate is 0.5 C, which means you can charge and discharge the entire battery in in 2 hours. In 2 hours. So that's light years ahead of lead acid, which was sometimes 0.1 or 0.2 C, which means it could take 6 to 7 hours to charge the battery. So you don't have that issue with ours. So in a case like I was explaining at 1004 Estate, if I have the grid is off between 10, or the power is off between 10 and 12, and then 2 to 4, I can use that 2 hours to fully recharge my battery with the grid available, even not discussing solar panels. And that is a huge jump from where lead acid was previously. So let's go back to the use case scenarios. So another one can be simply using solar and batteries, right? This is more or less an off-grid scenario where you're using solar in the daytime and batteries at night. Now, this may require a certain lifestyle change, but it's completely possible. But if need be, you have the DG option if there is no battery available and you've utilized all of the sunlight. Or you can use probably the most common, solar, grid, and battery. Okay, and you can set it to be either the 24-hour requirement pull of power, or just utilizing the DG when you want. Now, why would you want to use the DG just sporadically? Because of money, right? Because of the cost of diesel. So we wouldn't want to say, always use 24-hour reliable power if, you know, for some reason you're not home and then the DG is running and you're always going to have to pay for that fuel, right? So you have that option with the iSight Power M. So another feature that's particularly relevant to Nigeria is the resiliency on the voltage of this product. So we utilize power electronics in the inverter, and it can take voltage between 90 volts and 300 volts, which on the 220 volts, you know, is quite a range. So it's quite robust, and it can take surges of startup resistance up to 500 volts. And then for certain devices, it can surge up to 1.5 times the capacity of the inverter for a short period, 10 seconds. But this robustness is particularly important for a market like Nigeria, right? Because we know the fluctuations of the grid. And this is particularly important for the inverter company and the battery company to be all in one. Because we know what happens. The inverter company will blame the battery company will blame the inverter company, and the inverter company will blame the meter company, and they'll blame the discos, and there'll never be a warranty claim. And in this situation, it's very easy to tell and monitor what's happening with the equipment. So here's just a general setup of the system and how it can be monitored and wired to your distribution board. A few other key features: it's an all-in-one design. It can be installed in less than 2 hours in a really a plug-and-play scenario. I encourage all of you, you know, after the event to inspect the unit outside to become familiar with it. As noted, it supports multiple energy access, multiple inputs. It has 2 MPPT inputs, which means if you don't have a directly south-facing roof, because if you have solar panels, you want to have your panels face the equator to maximize sunlight, okay? But if you know, a typical household does not have a directly south-facing roof without shade. Usually it's more complicated than that. So this system allows you to have, you can pick 2 strings where this maybe you want to harvest sun from the east and harvest sun from the west, okay? And this system will allow you to do that. So you maximize the irradiance, the sunlight that you do have, okay? The plug-and-play design allows installation costs to be limited, and there's also a very low decibel grade sound of this device, so you could actually put it in your home, you could put it next to your bed, and it won't make any noise. And that's, you know, that's unique in the industry as well. There's also a 0.3 millisecond changeover time. So in between loads, there's not going to be a 30-second, you know, gap switching to a new source, or even a 5-second gap. You wouldn't recognize the changeover in between switching between power sources, you know, which is a huge advancement, even with solar inverters. So this is a use case scenario where we reduced the household energy bill by 50 to 70% by just utilizing, by maximizing the panels and pulling from the batteries. And in this case, removing the diesel generator. Of course, that also is subject to a little lifestyle change to make sure that, you know, their nighttime activities, you know, we either move to the day, let's say doing dishes or laundry or something, other big pulls of power. But, you know, it's completely possible with this system. You don't need to go immediately off grid right away. Most clients like to get comfortable and understand their system before they start to adapt. Maybe buy another battery, and then make the leap. Now, this solution is especially relevant to households, but also for small businesses. You know, this is a single-phase solution. Now, it's also dependent on what loads you put on the inverter. I think it's not a surprise to anyone here. You know, anything with heat or cooling takes a lot of power. Kettles, microwaves, irons, absolutely, freezers, etc. Electric pots, especially two at the same time. You know, these are things to, you know, be mindful of as you're sizing the batteries and the system. Yes, the battery can take it. Now, I've had discussions with friends in Nigeria. They'll say, "You mean that battery can run my AC?" I say, "Yes, it can, absolutely. But you might want to buy 3 of them if you're with the type of guy who can't sleep without AC, especially if NEPA goes off for a few hours." But, you know, that's not, I don't think that's anything new to most Nigerians. It just needs to be explained and then wired accordingly on the backup. But, you know, those always can be added as well. Like, the larger loads can be added. I would suggest a piecemeal approach, right? This unit is IP65 rated, which means it can work under pretty much any weather conditions. So you can put this right outside where your generator is, as this guy's doing. So those are the essential features of the residential solution. You know, we encourage you to ask questions. We'll try our best to answer them. We have a full technical team that can support you. And like I said from the beginning, this is an ongoing partnership, right? And I truly believe TD is the best partner for this market. So, you know, we have extensive training in online and offline programs, and so the goal will be to tackle this market together. So it's just not a one-time kind of education. So I'd like to quickly go through some of our commercial solutions as well. Just in time for my colleague to join to discuss these commercial solutions. We have an expert in-house for this iSight Power S. So this is a hybrid and off-grid solution that works between 6 to 72 kilowatts. This should actually say 72. So this is perfect for the Nigerian case study. Now, TD Africa is launching primarily with the residential solution that we just discussed, but there is, you know, room for growth into this solution as well, which is perfect for the Nigerian context. So this can be for remote villages, and any remote places of the country, primary schools, healthcare clinics, etc. This has an adoption early on from telecom towers, and the inverter size can go up to 72 kVA, and the battery sizes can go over a half a megawatt, so over 500 kilowatt hours. So the loads can be tremendous. And if you can split the loads, you can, of course, even double that inverter size easily. So some of the use cases for this, well, just reference some of the use cases, both on and off grid, but this is especially for businesses, it's commercial and industrial businesses. Some of the key features are it's a simple design. There's a lot of pre-wiring done, so there's easy, fast deployment. It's also P65 rated, so it can be installed anywhere outside under harsh weather conditions. Has modular design, so for redundancy of the system. So a lot of batteries are designed, a lot of lithium batteries are designed in U-rack sizes. So this is a 3U, which means it can fit into standard racks that, you know, Huawei offers for easily paralleling up to larger sizes. And it comes with smart, intelligent remote monitoring. Oh, and actually, that's a point I forgot to mention on the residential solution. We have an app coming out, I think before the end of the year. It's called Emma. And this app will allow you to it will allow you to set your battery charges according to the weather the next day. So if you're going into the night and say, "Oh my God, it's going to be rainy tomorrow," Lagos rainy season. Let's make sure that battery's charged up, so at least throughout the day you can discharge for your essential loads. Or it's going to be sunny tomorrow. Right away from the morning, we'll be able to charge the battery. So that will have that intelligence inbuilt. So it will be able to maximize the efficiency of your home solar system. Now, similarly, we have such features for the intelligent system of the iSight Power S. And it can even tell you, particularly with the optimizers that my colleague Victor discussed, particularly where there might be faults or there might be shading in your panels. So it can bypass those certain cells of the panels to make sure each panel is up to maximum efficiency. So, and all of these, a lot of these inverter changes and everything can be done remotely, which reduces the cost of needing to go out to the site by sending teams to site to troubleshoot what the issue is, etc. These are some of the key features of the S. We have the S installed at our Huawei campus for our residents of some of our executives right here in BI. It powers the top 3 floors. 60% of the electricity comes from the solar on the roof and saves us about $20,000 US a year. I'm sure we'll be happy to arrange a site visit. Just get in contact with our colleagues here running. Okay, Nei can help coordinate that. Here's a picture of the solution at the site. These are the racks I mentioned with the pre-cabling. Total installation time was within 2 hours for this entire system. Some of the key features I've already referenced in terms of the efficiency of the system, which is really a jump from lead acid to lithium. A lot of the artificial intelligence of the system, where there's many monitoring points throughout the batteries and throughout the inverters. Okay, so here's some general key benefits of Huawei versus other competition. So we've already mentioned the cycle life. Okay, so 6,000 cycles plus compared to 3,000 to 5,000 if we're comparing to other lithium solutions. Huawei solutions are plug and play. The warranty is never void because there's a difference between the inverter and the battery, which is a huge one. It's a very important point that we want to make. And you particularly see in lithium and inverters a lot of companies that spring up and are around for 5 years. Maybe they rebrand a product with a different OEM, and then they'll disappear. So, you know, one thing we're really selling is the bankability of the Huawei brand. Because a 10-year warranty or a 5-year warranty is only as good as the company behind it, right? So that's something that we're all, I think, quite familiar with in this market. So that's something that we can also emphasize to clients. There's remote monitoring capability, the IP65 weathering rating, and then the heat rating up to 35 degrees Celsius on the batteries. So I believe we have a partner here, Paras, who I believe would like to come up and say a few words about the benefits of should we wait till we finish, so? Well, we have a partner here, and rather than me tell you, I think it's more powerful to hear from a case study of one of our partners of some of the benefits of our solution and how our customer experience has been with them. So here's some talking points on that, and I will let you hear from him now. Okay, apologies. That will come just next in the presentation. So here's some feedback from another partner. So there's seamless synchronization of power channels. There's reduction of CO2, hazardous substances in the atmosphere. There's a reduction of capex costs due to the financing of the project. There's more efficiency in the production and the use of power. Similarly, there's a reduction of waste and power use. The lithium batteries installed last longer and reduce the cost of power from the national grid over time, of course. And it safeguarded the bank property because it reduced the frequency of damage, assuming from the the voltage and currency shifts that are so common that can damage equipment. And related the frequency of faults on gadgets, and it reduced OPEX, which we don't want to belittle. The OPEX reduction is tremendous, and as we all know, as a diesel costs increase, we are continually saving money as customers go solar. Okay, so now utility scale solutions. Just have a few slides here. Is this where we have only a few projects in this regard in Nigeria, and we're joined by our partners Paras, who can comment on a few of them.
Thank you, Justin. So this is Vishal, and I'm from Paras Energy. We are using what I guess is largest utility scale captive solar power plant here in Nigeria, which we have done in phases. Like last year we did 1 megawatt plant, then we tested it, checked it, and then we scaled up it to 10 megawatt, and now we are doing another 5 megawatt. So why I am telling this, we have done it in phases. Like in every phase, our reliable partner was always Huawei. Last time we did, I guess, 43 inverters. Then we went to 19 this time, and again we are doing some other projects also with Huawei only. We are doing 680 kilowatt storage system also with right now we are in discussion about that with Huawei, but for sure the 2 megawatt hour system which they are offering for utility scale, we are into discussion with them. So this is like my experience with Huawei as of now, and we are very much confident about the reliability and quality what they are offering. This is the part which is the most beneficial thing about Huawei. Apart from this, the presence and after sales services also, we have got a very great benefit from at the time of commissioning, at the time of installation, and at the time of testing. Each and every step we have received a very good support from Huawei. Like this is I can brief my all the experience in just some of these words for now. I think that's it, Justin.
Thank you very much. All right, just to conclude then briefly, so our utility systems, can go up to 1 megawatt, up to any size really, 10, 20, 30 megawatts. We're not really seeing anything bigger than that yet in Nigeria because of the focus on distributed generation. But we do have an energy storage system that can go up to 2 megawatt hours currently. We will be unrolling a 260 kilowatt hour solution by the end of the year, which will be more fitting for the business sector in Nigeria. And our smart strings start at 2 kVA, go up to 200 kVA, and can be parallel to any size. This is just an outline of those solutions. So thank you all for your attention. We look forward to building this market together and making a lot of money together in the process. And hopefully this is just the beginning. So cheers.
All right, let's put our hands together for him. Please put our hands together for him. Okay, so at this point, the floor is open for questions and answers to our speakers, Mr. Victor and Justin. Just a few announcements. So I'm sure when you were coming, you were told to write your names because we have a lucky dip whereby we are going to give out free gifts. We have some Huawei phones that we're going to be giving out. So please, I hope you wrote your names and dropped it outside. I hope you all did. Okay. Not ev- I think at the moment, election is closed. Okay, so the floor is open for questions and answers. If you want to ask questions, so I'll just be going around. If you want to ask questions, you just introduce yourself. You tell us your name, tell us the name of your company, and then, okay. So let me start from those in front if I get to the back. Please, can I get on that mic? So that this, okay.
Good day, one. My question goes to Justin. My name is Bamidele Otolorin. I work with Southgate Technologies. My question goes to Justin. He was talking about positioning the inverter anywhere outside or whatever. My question is, was there consideration for voltage drop in cables based on the distance of the inverter to the DB?
Yeah, thanks. Great question. My colleagues can answer that more from a technical side, but absolutely there is. Generally at the residential level, it depends. It's very site specific, right? So it depends on the site, but in general, absolutely can be considered. It can be outside, but if you're talking about, much further distance, then of course voltage drop needs to be considered, or different cabling sizes to accommodate for that.
Hello, good morning. Good afternoon. Benjamin. Okay, I have two questions. The first one goes to both speakers, who are we in general. You made mention of R&D, huge investment and all that. And in the map that was displayed, there's no Africa, Nigeria particularly. And when Victor was presenting, he said Africa has a very good position when it comes to the intensity of sun radiation, when it has to do with and with all this potential in Africa, there is no footprint or R&D facility in Africa, so as to encourage the participation of Africans in the development of technology and in selling alone. That's one. And the second question is, okay, that's that for now. I will
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, the short of it is that's above us. So what I will say is we do have dedicated R&D team members here that are constantly feeding back information regionally and to HQ. But yes, there are limited, the centers themselves are usually, in other locations. But let's make the market, and so that we force them to bring a facility here.
Okay, so I think I saw this hand first. So please let's know your name, the company you work, and.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Prince. So I write for the Vanguard newspapers. Well, my question is generally on the partnership. Number one, I know the capability of TD to push these products and make them household name in this part of the world. There's no doubt about that. But secondly, on the part of Huawei, I think in terms of trying to plug into this the gap in the market, yes, you are on point. Our grid system of electricity generation is failing at best, if it has not failed. So solar is the way to go. However, I have two problems. that's the two critical problems for us here. One of it is what my brother has said. I may have to reinforce it. One is affordability, because of our economy. Two is the durability of your batteries because of our climatic position. So I wanted to know, here, one size fits all does not work for us here because of the climate we are positioned in. So I wanted to know actually the kind of, if you have any tropical market research that, culminated into, that was part of, you are building your batteries because you are coming here to play. That's number one. Secondly, your affordability, how affordable is your affordability? You can say that it's affordable. If you price your products in dollar, in pounds, it could be affordable. But by the time you cascade it to this place, it may not be affordable. So how did you take Nigeria into consideration, in these two factors before you come up to partner with us? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I think I'll address the second question first, and if my colleagues want to add anything. Okay, so number one, affordability, it comes back to the transport question. Do you want to get there by bicycle? Do you want to get there by car? So as long as we're talking about cars, then we can have a discussion about price. Because it's really a discussion about solar and batteries versus generators. So if we're having that discussion, then no, there will never be price parity in the short term. Over the long term, we will always win solar. But the problem is that short-term, long-term reality. Now, I'm not denying that reality in Nigeria. It's a reality. It's true. So we don't need to take 100% of the market. Let's take the 20, 30% of the market that is willing to go solar and understand that by going solar, they're not having to pay any OPEX. They're going to get rid of their diesel cost. They're going to get rid of their diesel generator and lay it out for them. You can make a choice. So that's our approach. Our approach is not to just say, boom, all of a sudden, everyone's going solar, and we know it's affordable. We know it's a lot of money, and that's a challenge that I outlined from the beginning about the CapEx. So, the approach can be gradual, and that's the approach we'll take, but we truly believe in the benefits of the technology if that CapEx can be addressed. Now, then if you have a discussion, to give the bicycle car example, then let's start comparing different cars. Now that's a different discussion. So that's when we can have discussions about a Toyota, versus a BMW or a G-Wagon or whatever. We can get into that and we can geek out over that. We love those discussions about Huawei's technology versus other solar technologies available. So I think that's just in general how I think about the pricing question. And the first question, I'm forgetting the R&D. I think I addressed the R&D. Oh, the weather. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. We specifically thought about sub-Saharan Africa. Yes. Seriously. Because this is the distributed energy capital of the world. So Nigeria and South Africa are the largest markets for that distributed power. So if you remember the slide about the lithium batteries, it's up to 35 degrees Celsius. So that's a leap. Now, if you would have asked me that question 5 years ago, no, it wasn't developed. Okay. But the storage markets, stationary storage, battery backup, Nigeria, South Africa, that's where the opportunity is. So they're specifically kept with that in mind. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Add anything, Victor? Okay.
So
I think it's shorter to go this way.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm part of the Huawei team. The young man is asking a question about affordability and how affordable is your affordability. So are you comparing with lithium batteries? Do you have a reference?
If you design your products and design the cost from where you are coming from, which the economy is quite different from here, which the currency is quite different from here, it could be affordable. If you say your battery is £100, it could be a little bit affordable. But by the time you come to Nigeria and maybe translate $100, how affordable is it? So did you think of the economy you are coming before you price your product? That's what I'm looking at.
So my question is, there is a reference of inverter cost in Nigeria. So even if I price my product in US dollars and I come to Nigeria, I'm giving you a Nigerian price. I'm going to give you the price in Naira.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Now, when you say how affordable is your affordability, are you comparing our cost locally with other lithium solutions? Or you are just looking at the figure?
Look, Nigeria is an open market. Competition drives the cost and the price. So I'm not comparing it to anybody.
Okay.
But it's the market forces that will determine whether you survive or not.
Now, the solution we are giving, we are looking at a solution that compares with your alternative cost in trying to mitigate your power problems. So what is your alternative cost? You are spending diesel. Now, the amount of diesel you will use to generate, for example, 1 megawatt hours of electricity is constant. And you're going to buy diesel at 700 Naira or thereabout. So that doesn't change. So
no, it does. It does. If for whatever factors that are driving the cost of diesel today, if eventually within the next 1 month something happens,
let's leave the cost. Let's leave the variability of the cost.
It's from what you're saying that I'm answering.
No problem.
If it drops,
I give that to you. I give that to you. You will use a certain amount of liters of diesel. Let us leave the cost. So if you are spending 100 liters of diesel, that is the point. You're still going to be spending money. And if you're going to buy a battery that will last you for 2 years, the man buying the 2 years battery is paying more. He's paying less initially, but the person buying a lithium battery that will last for 15 years is paying lesser. Because when you look at the cost over time, you consider inflation, you find out that getting a lithium solution minus the high efficiency, the depth of discharge is higher. You will find out that you are better off using a lithium solution and a Huawei solution than other solutions you have in the market. And you are going to spend it, like I was speaking with somebody yesterday who was complaining about the cost of inverter. But he's buying diesel every day, so you are spending the money. So that is the point. So people need to know the economics of what we are talking about. So how affordable is your affordability? Is as affordable as the opportunity cost of the affordability.
All right, please let me, just hold on. Just hold on. So I think Mr. Justin apparently answered that. If you're looking at it from a short sight, you definitely be looking at the cost more. Or if you're looking at it on a long term, definitely it's going to.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry to just add a little to what he said. It's not about, I think there's a market for everybody, right? Like he said, we want to take the 20% or 30% of people that can afford it. Now, I'm talking from a perspective of where the business I do. I'm into commercial air conditioning. And 10 years ago, when you talk about commercial air conditioning, people would be like, oh, it's too expensive. Everybody wants a normal room AC where you just hang an indoor and an outdoor. But 10 years after, everybody's tilting towards commercial air conditioning. You're talking about long-term savings on power, on, I mean, you're saving more money when you purchase things like this. So it's the same thing. We can't say, oh, it's too expensive. There's nothing too expensive, and there's nothing too cheap in Nigeria as far as I'm concerned. There's a market for everybody. I think this is a good market, and I think it's going to sell. I'm looking at how we're going to hit the ground and start running and selling this, and I'm very interested in how we can make money from this, and that's what's important for me.
Thank you very much for that. You want to say something?
Okay. Good afternoon. Okay, my question is concerning the slide. I saw a 10 years warranty, so I just want to ask, does that apply to both battery and the inverter itself? And the second thing is not really a question, just like if we can get a pamphlet or an handout that has the highlights, like a quick overview of the project, of the product, like you have different ratings of those products, so that when you are positioning it, you're talking to a customer, and based on their power rating, you know that, okay, this is what I'm positioning. Like a pamphlet that will give you by quick overview of the product line.
First of all, about the warranty, for the eyesight Power M, the warranty is 5 years. The warranty could be extended, and that warranty covers equipment and battery. Then about the quick overview, I think we have some pamphlets around at the back. We have a sample of the eyesight Power M outside here. You want to take a look before you go, you can take some of your questions. But the warranty covers both battery and inverter, like I just said. And we have the pamphlets. You can ask us after the program. We'll give you some.
If Huawei will, like their warranty, does it cover, like if there is as an event of power surge and it affects the inverter, for instance, like surge, any surge that affects the panel, that has to need to do like power panel. So, come again. It's power surge. It's power related. Okay.
So there's a massive voltage surge protection. There's over voltage, there's over current, there's overload. There's the lightning surge protector is put externally, and we advise people to put that when they are installing. It doesn't come inbuilt. But every other surge protector you can get from power is already inbuilt in the inverter. So there's protection for that electronically. And the warranty covers any problems. We have a warranty certificate, and on that you will see all the warranty terms and conditions, just like any other equipment that has general warranty terms. So I can't highlight all that now because of time. So if you need more information about that, we can send you a copy. Just get in touch with us after the event.
All right, that is fine. Yeah.
I would ask TD Africa to answer that question. I don't know where Mr. Nee is. Mr. Nee. So because this their project, and send a request to us, we'll give you an idea of a price range. Anything from 1 million to 3 million, that range. I think that will help.
Good afternoon. My name is Prince Tochukwu, L Christian Integrated. I want to first of all appreciate the presentation by the Huawei team. Questions have been asked, although people will just ask questions because they just want to ask. A lot of these questions being asked here already have answers. For instance, we talked about affordability here. If there is problem with the government and there is problem with your administration, I don't think it's fair to throw it to another body. Because if we talk about exchange rate here, there is nothing a foreign company can do to solve it for us rather than the government. Because the dollar is there stable. The pounds and euro are there stable. It's our naira that is fluctuating. So what magic do we expect maybe a company like Huawei to do to solve that riddle? So let's really understand all those things and the way they work. Then we talked about, sorry, I hope I'm communicating here. All right. Yeah, so you cannot go to seek for solution in a wrong place. The only thing I expect us to ask them is, considering us, and this will depend on your target. Who is your target? Every company represented here, like I heard from our sister, here is a commercial AC. Maybe we'll have people that also deal with the domestic, you understand? So it's about your target. Who is your target? Everybody knows that any good product in this country cannot be cheap. So I heard when you talked about paying small. I don't know what that really means. Is it I, as a supplier, will be paying TD small, for instance, and they will release the product to me and I supply to my client? Or is it if I'm the end user, I will not be paying that small as a user? That's where I need clarification so that when we also approach our clients, we will know exactly how we'll throw this. Then on the warranty aspect, 5 years, 10 years, yeah, easier said than done. But I know there are still companies that keep to that. But no need to mention. I hope Huawei will also live to that expectation, because they will tell you this thing has 1 year warranty. And by the time you purchase it, and the next day it has problem, sometimes what you hear, you don't buy them. No replacement, no refund. But you know that even over there in Europe and Asia or America, if I buy this that is under warranty and it has problem, you're going to even beg me and ask me which do I want, replacement or refund. But over here in this country, it's not the case. So I like practicality. Remember, I have defended you in areas where I feel that, you know, it's the right thing. So, but practicality, we don't need to keep deceiving ourselves in this country. Even if the government is deceiving us, we don't need to deceive ourselves. So you tell us the realities of all these things. If I'm going to a business, integrity is key. And for the price, I know we were talking about comparison, but nobody thought about health. You know, because if you are making use of generator and you're using inverter, I know when they talked about zero carbon emission. So which one is giving you that? Because as you're burning diesel, you are also constituting to health hazard through pollution. And that's, I believe, what's eating up the ozone layer. That is, you know, it takes time. So please, Huawei team, help us get this thing clear so that we'll be on the same page with you. I know Huawei is rated, yeah, top notch. We know that very well. And that's why I had to come for this very event myself. And then at the end of this presentation, I would like personally, I don't know if others want, to get a slide for this so I can have a thorough study. The last time we came here, TD pledged to send slide, but I didn't get it. So please make sure I get this so that when I'm talking, I have a backup. And I would also love to have the contacts of everybody that is concerned. So if there is any issue, I hold you responsible. Thank you.
All right. So I think someone has also asked for slides earlier, which will definitely be communicated across.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments and questions. Thank you for being here. And, you know, this is exactly the type of thoughtful partners that we want to build the market with. So let me address your questions from the order. So the first is who's the audience? Well, you know, unfortunately, the nature of solar and the capex required does limit to a certain degree the target customers, right? So I'm not going to come up with that number in the head of what their monthly income. It's sometimes very difficult to know, but there is a financial, you know, gap barrier. So that's just the reality. So in terms of the audience, you know, this is why I believe in Nigeria, partners are the most important. You know, there's some person, for instance, in Aqua that maybe they don't have a website, but they work on a Gmail and a WhatsApp, and everyone knows that that's the person for renewable energy or reliable appliances in that community, right? And that's the way Nigeria can work, because it's trusted relation. And so, you know, I would say that the audience would be dependent on who they say is the audience. So as long as they know that there is a reliable solution they can buy from Huawei, and it doesn't need to be the only solution they're selling. You know, we are not naive to the fact that this may be too expensive for some people, or this may not be the best fit for some people, but we want to be a part of the portfolio. And if they're considering solar, we want to be the first part of the portfolio. So that audience question can vary a little bit. Regarding the pay small, it's really a question for TD Africa and yourselves. So, you know, obviously one reason that we think that this partnership is especially great is because of their ability to finance. And because of a destable currency, that adds a lot of challenges, of course. But that's something that's not new for you, and it's not an area where we necessarily play as an OEM, right, and focusing on the quality product. So we can leave that to discussion with them. And in terms of warranty, how it works, we always go through our partners. So we have a trusted technical liaison team that will troubleshoot any returns. So there's a series of rigorous questions that we go through to make sure that it meets warranty. Now, it's a lot easier with our product because the inverter and the battery are all in one. So it's a lot limited time. But, you know, it does take time to return to TD to make sure it meets the warranty claim. And we have not, to my knowledge, we haven't defined turnaround yet, but that's something that we need to define for you in this partnership, you know, if a product is returned on warranty. Now, in terms of performance warranty defects, it's less than 1%. So I think it's something like 0.3 something percent. Now, we know everything that could go wrong will go wrong, especially in Nigeria. And look, that's just the reality of particularly in power generator. That's the reality of the market and the voltage frequencies and, you know, things turning off. That doesn't happen in many places in the world. So, you know, that's something that we just need to, that's why we always go through partners that you can rely on versus trying to call, you know, a company overseas and not really addressing the answer. So that's what we hope to build out through this partnership.
Hours backup. What do you do in that case?
Yeah, so that's in that specific scenario, we have to, you know, work with what we have, right? So there is some flexibility. There's not ultimate flexibility. So in that scenario, say, okay, maybe start with, they have 5 hours of backup. It depends on their loads. Maybe they need to add another battery, or maybe they need to add 3 batteries. Maybe they need to parallel and add another 30 kilowatt hour. That would be the shorthand solution. That would solve most of the requirements of a typical household.
Yeah, because you said your product is inbuilt, the inverter and the battery.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking this for some of us who are doing the enterprise, and then you have a company, maybe a project, and they say this is what they want. I know some other companies, they would design a solution, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on what the client wants. So I just want to be certain if Huawei does that too. Because it's not like mostly my clients, they don't normally go for the regular or standard capacity.
Yeah, I think what in this what this means at a residential and commercial level is usually a different inverter and then different batteries, because you can have a little more, let's say, nuance on the design. That comes with pros and cons. So, and it particularly depends on the brands. And then you have to get into individual, what's the warranty on that brand? Is there a separate MPPT? What's the warranty there? Who's the OEM? Who represents them in Nigeria? So it's kind of a different conversation, but I think you're getting at is there's never a one size fits all. This is particularly in power generation, there's never a cookie cutter approach. Every house is different. Every roof is different. Every distribution board is wired totally different. And whatever wiring is there will affect the system and the design. And so you do require a certain technical knowledge, which Huawei can support with, to know the site before the product's installed. And so we're in discussions with TD to help with that. And then we have our own resources to help with that. And that's why we also offer extensive training, both in person and an online training program as partners now with TD and Huawei, to make sure that you're up to speed on some of those issues so you can guide the client accordingly. I believe in terms of your question about slides, the slides can be shared with you after the event. We'll make sure that we share it with Nini and share it with everyone here. And I believe we addressed the question of price and health. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Okay. Let me add to what he said about the solution. So based on customers' requests on the backup storage, Huawei has already designed the solution. It's all in one, whether the sidebar M or the sidebar S. So we look at the storage, the time, then we design the backup storage based on the number of batteries that's required. Because each of our battery models has specific capacity. So we calculate it based on the peak load. So we ask for what's the peak load, what's the average load. So we use that to calculate the storage. So it will meet up the customer requirements. Yeah.
Yes, it can parallel up to 45 kilowatt hours. Jeremiah, I believe you forgot to introduce yourself.
When you are cascading, do you still need to do additional configuration for it to pick it automatically, or to pick it automatically?
Okay, so are we done with our questions? Are we done with our questions? Please, let's put our hands together for ourselves, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Justin. All right, so
Please, before you go to the next listen, let me just quickly say this. Can I have the microphone, please? I believe Huawei is a mega company. In the program, they told us it will win 3 phones, 3 lucky dips. You see the congregation. We are congregation now, our audience. So I believe for what you're doing to actually sell through, because we believe in practicality, make sure everybody gets something here. I've just picked in my pack here. It's a memo. It has nothing to do with Huawei. Please make sure your product, even if it's the least, gets to everyone here. That is how to do marketing. Thank you.
All right, so if you're still with your slip, please bring it so that we can do the lucky dip quickly. There's extra time now, so if you're still with your slip, you can please come and put it here. Is it a unanimous? So we should use this, right? Okay. Okay, so I think I will give Mr. Justin the opportunity. Just pick one. Anybody you pick gets to win this. Okay, so
I just want to be clear, I won't rig this election, okay?
Okay, so pick one. You can. So you read the name.
Mr. Chooks Ifeuzo.
Mr. Chooks Ifezu. Okay. So just give me. You're supposed to pick 3, so pick the second one. If he was here, then he was here.
Okay. Okay, please forgive me if I say wrong, okay, my friends? Is it Christian Nwachuku?
So Christian Nwachuku.
Aha.
Okay, so pick the third one. Pick a third one.
IFM Lanike Samuel.
Serious. Ade Lanike Samuel.
Okay, last one. Drum roll.
No. What? Sorry, what's the name? Okay, so this Chooks. So yeah. So the 3 of them. If you don't mind, come here so that we can present it to you. Please, let's do the honors of presenting it. Yeah, one after the other, if you don't mind. Yeah. This government. Yeah. All right. All right. So we come to the end. Any other thing?
Please, for those of you who have been asking about training, we're organizing training for partners. If you have registered with TD Africa, we're organizing free training at Huawei office. We'll tell TD Africa the date of the training for next month. It's usually 3 days. We run you through how our systems work and how they are installed. For those who are buying, who have registered and are buying the product, those are the people eligible to attend the training. So TD Africa will give you the information, and through them you can get to us. Thank you. The training is for the partners, but we need, anyway, TD Africa will advise us on those who will be trained. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Please let us assemble outside for a group photo. Then after that, we have our lunch. Thank you very much. Nice having you around.
I'm from Huawei Technologies. Here with me is Zurel Energy. It's a team from Zurel Energy. They are one of Huawei Technologies channel partners. And in this solar inverter site, they have an existing 5 kVA solution. The 5 kVA solution, as you can see, uses 8 batteries. So we have 8 batteries already installed, but these batteries have reached the end of their life cycle. So they're going to be upgrading this to Huawei Technologies M5000 solution. This is the M5000 solution. So we're going to be upgrading and replacing this after the commissioning with a Huawei M5000 iPower Cube solution. We'll show you how that happens right away. Okay, so we have this is a 2 kVA module. As it is now, we have 2 kVA here. So we're going to add more modules to increase the power. So if I put an extra 2 kV, 2 kilowatt module. We now have 6 kilowatt module. We have one of the rectifier modules. These are solar panels, as you can see, is on. That means we have the PV modules connected to it already. I'm going to reduce these cables, are not looking very hemmed, so I'm going to just take off these cables and connect them very well so that they look neat. Rotate actually. Yeah. So you can see that our inverters are active now. We have the PV module, which is this is also active, and this is the rectifier module for charging. It's switched off because we don't have main supply at the moment. So everything you see here is coming directly from this inverter at the moment. All the lights are. So right here, what we have here now is a 6 kV.